You can come with me if you want, unless you're scared.
Welcome to The Truth Hurts. Today, we're counting down the top 5 wildest stories from the Shawn Ryan Show.
Total fucking chaos, right? There's press. We had to fight our way through the press. We had a guy almost shoot the press. It was great.
For this list, we'll be looking at the craziest and riveting stories from the former Navy Seals popular show.
And as soon as I pop out to shoot, it all goes black.
From Delta Force operators to Marine Raiders, here are those must-see stories that made all of us go,
holy shit.
All credit goes to Shawn Ryan and the Shawn Ryan Show. Links to the full interviews will be in the descriptions. Number 5. Chris VanSant's improvised mission in Somalia.
I'm taking my guys and I'm going over the hill to kill them. And I go, what? And he goes, you can come with me if you want, unless you're scared. He punked us. Literally punked us.
Holy shit.
And so I'm like, all right, Bashir, straight face. I'm like, I get it. I get it. Like, we need to do something. I understand. I go, can you give us a minute? Let us talk and come up with a little hasty plan here. And I'll be right back with you. He says, fine. So he walks off to his guys. And I turn around where he can't see me and I start laughing. And Phil and Brady are like, what are you laughing at? And I go, you guys aren't going to believe this. I was like, but when you go through Robin Sage in the Q course, you have a G chief, a guerrilla warlord guy that's pretending that's his thing, and he has his little G's. And I go, and they act like complete assholes, and they do things like this. And when you're in the Q course, you're like, no way this ever happens. And here we are in Somalia, and this former warlord is going, are you too scared to come with me? And so, we had a quick conversation, and I'm like, look, we're going to lose the faith of these guys. These are our only security. We're a 5-hour flight, a really long swim to a boat. We got no assets, no nothing. Like, we can't lose this. Like, we need to keep these guys on our side. We didn't trust them to begin with. We hadn't worked with them a whole bunch, and it wasn't a very comfortable feeling. It wasn't like we had been training these guys and working with them for months on end.
Yeah.
Supposedly the CIA had trained them for the last few years, but I can tell you what we saw was not a highly trained force. So anyway, we end up pulling Bashir in, and we explained to him that basically we're going to do a movement to contact, bounding overwatch. And we ended up putting the gun teams on either side, not so much because of the tactics, but because we were afraid about having them too close to us.
Yeah. And
what would happen. So we had a gun team to our right flank, a gun team to our left flank. The three of us were staying together no matter what. And then we had a couple other Somalis and Bashir with us. And so we start this bounding overwatch. We'd move a gun team up, move another gun team up, and so on and so on. And so we crest over the first hill. About the time we get over the first hill, headed up to the larger ridge, we hear a bell fed open up. And it's to the north of us. And they're shooting at the guys on our right flank. Can't tell exactly where it's coming from, but we can tell that that's the only ones that they can see. So we continue to move up to gain the high ground on this ridge line to try to get a better fix on their position. About the time we get up there, we realize where they are, not too far from our position. We engage those guys, but then all hell breaks loose. So in the draw behind the ridge that we're on, we're taking heavy fire. Ineffective, we're behind like this ridge of rocks. So we've got some cover, it's good cover, but man, they are just... So we got a couple of dudes that have been dealt with on the north side, but they have shot and wounded both of the guys in our gun team to our right flank. About the time that we're trying to figure out exactly where they are below us. Now, we got no grenades. We've got nothing, like I said.
Shit.
Small arms. About that time, bullets come. I'm here, Phil and Bashir over there. The two Somalis are a little bit further to his left, and then the gun team is beyond them. And then Brady's on my right, and then the wounded gun team on his right. And so rounds come cracking right across the front of me, the cover I'm standing at, like skip off the rock right in front of me. And Brady and I both look left at the same time, and dudes are maneuvering up the ridge line. There's 4 or 5 guys that are coming up the ridge. And so all this in a split second, that first like barrage of fire, Bashir is like just standing out in the open, gets shot 3 times. So Phil grabs him, pulls him down behind cover, and is like packing like Kerlex and gauze in his holes. Brady and I both turn, and I move to a piece of cover between me and the guys on the left flank. Yell to Brady, hey, move to me, move to me, move to me. Suppress the fire, Brady moves to me. Now it's the two of us. The 2 Somalis that are up here with us are now cowering down behind the rocks and terrified, like not returning fire, not anything. And I think, well, at least they're not going to shoot us, right? They're there. the gun team between us and them are now in a shootout with the guys. So half the guys that are coming up the ridge are shooting at the 2 Somalis on our left flank. The other half of the guys are shooting at Brady and I. It's kind of whack-a-mole. Brady and I ended up shooting rounds between a bunch of rocks and just ricocheting a bunch of rounds into the dudes, and they would peel out to one side or the other, and, you know, we kind of dealt with it. But anyway, in the midst of that portion, we ended up dealing with all those guys, but they had wounded not just Bashir, but the other 2 guys. So now I've got 5 wounded Somalis, including the only one that speaks English.
Shit.
And the 3 of us. So everybody on the ridge is down. I'm not worried about, it doesn't seem to be, we have good visibility that we've got any more threat coming up the ridge line above or below, but we're still getting hammered from down below. And I'm like, I don't know what our move is from here. Like, the 3 of us were like, we don't have a lot of options here. And Brady goes, how about some naval gunfire? And so, you know, the 3 of us kind of looked at each other and we're like, all right, yeah, we can do this. Like, let's just they're all in one spot. Let's hammer this draw. We had already talked to them, pre-planned targets. So the boat was ready and aware, and they were jacked up. Like, they didn't even know we were there.
I'll bet they were fucking pumped.
We called them in the blind. It was a really funny, like, 20-minute conversation before we had gotten into that position, and you could hear them in the background, like, yeah! Like, they knew they were getting ready to get some. And so Brady is on the horn with the boat. I have a handheld satellite radio because I'm like, we can't do this unless I call troops in contact over the SATCOM. Like, they got to know we've been engaged, that we didn't just shoot naval gunfire into a country we're not supposed to be into. And so, yeah, so Brady's talking to the boat, calling in naval gunfire. I'm calling in troops in contact over SATCOM. I said that we had wounded, but I didn't say who, because I was worried that if it was just Somalis, we weren't going to get the same reaction, which I don't know if that was the right call or the wrong call, but it was the call that I made at the time. And so we ended up grabbing up as many of the Somalis as we could, and we started pulling back off the ridge. Right about that time, rounds come overhead. I think Brady had him shoot like 24 rounds or something off the deck guns into the valley and walked them up and down as we pulled back off the ridge. So we get back down to our patrol base. There's no more fire coming from the hills other than, you know, the smoke and everything that's left, dust from the naval barrage. We get in the patrol base. Phil basically, like, almost on his own. I think I helped him with like the first 2 guys treating casualties, but Phil basically patched up all them dudes by himself. I was talking to Basaso. Basaso was talking to Djibouti. Djibouti was talking to Nairobi. Nairobi was talking to JSOC at Bragg. JSOC at Bragg was talking to SecDef in DC. So this was like,
damn,
like, it was wild.
Yeah.
And again, they asked me twice about casualties. And I said, you know, we have a casualty collection point. We're treating our wounded. We're unsure of their status at this moment, but that we were working on it and we were all right. But we needed CASEVAC, and we needed it now because they were a 5-hour flight away. So we patch up the Somalis. It's getting dark now. There's no sounds. There's no fire. There's nothing coming out of the hills. And basically, we don't have the ability to, like, go over there at night. We've got no workforce anymore. We had 3 Somalis, I think, down in the village that had weapons, but they weren't really a part of what we were doing. So we had those 3 stay in the patrol base. We commandeered a couple of vehicles from town. We loaded up the wounded, and we drove 10 minutes down the road to get to the dirt airfield. However many hours later, they landed a CASA on the dirt airfield, and our guys from Djibouti got out, along with a bunch of PJs that they brought from Djibouti to secure the wounded and treat those guys. They got off with us, so ammo resupply, brought some other stuff with them. The bird left with the wounded to fly back to Djibouti, and then the 5 of us went back to the patrol base and basically just camped out for the night until the sun came up.
Number 4, Chris Beck's life-saving 3-second rule.
And we were doing missions, and we were going after some real big bad dudes. And I have a ton of those stories, but I only tell like 2 of them. But this one story is important because it's who I am. So we're going to this house, we're doing the clearing, we're walking through, and we're doing all the stuff, but we're doing it real quiet because we haven't gone hot yet. So it's all like the cover, shh. We're just going through it super quiet. And I get up through this room, and I get up these stairs, and I take this right, and at the end of this hallway, I didn't know how fast I was going pretty quick. But we're pretty good about that and checking stuff. But for whatever reason, I went through the door and it didn't have the number 2. So I was going out there alone. And out on this rooftop, so it was a door that opened out on the rooftop. And in Afghanistan, they sleep on the roofs all the time because it's really hot in there and they just want to be out in the cool air. And it's the stars. It's beautiful to sleep out there on these rooftops. Plus, there's the security points. So this guy was up there on security, pulling security for his family and for the compound. And he had the AK and he's sitting there. And so basically you see me, I have all the best equipment. The lasers, the nogs, the night vision, all the stuff. And I'm using some terminology but night vision, the lasers and the gun, and it's totally prepped out, my body armor. And we have our radios on the sides with the antennas and all that stuff. So if you look at me with this green glow in there and there's all this tech and there's lasers and all this stuff, I'm like an alien being, I'm looking very high tech and very alien looking. And then I look at this guy, and in retrospect, I'm looking at this guy, and he's down there with bare feet and dirty and just raggy hair and his beard, and he had his one, that thing they wear. And I used to know all these things. I used to speak some of the language, but it's kind of washed all that out. But I see this guy up there, and he's laying there sleeping. He's just starting to wake up because there's some noise and stuff that's starting to happen. Because even the animals start waking up in the compound, So eventually people start waking. And the guy's just getting up and he sees it and he's reaching up and he's got his AK. Starts coming up at me. But I'm already off safe and I'm figuring I'm going. It was a split second. I set a record at Shaw's shooting, camp. The plate shooting. I'm on that top 10 because I'm a fast shooter. And so I'm sitting there just waiting. I'm just there. And dude's getting up and he's swinging up and I'm going, don't. And I'm just looking at him going, don't do it. I'm in my head and I'm just praying. It's like all of it's going, all my energy's going to that guy. Drop it. And it's like such a close. And if he was just like this much further with that barrel, and I was just like watching all of it. Why was I doing that? No rules of engagement. I could have taken him right when I walked out on there because he was up there in security and had a gun next to him. Done. But I didn't. I was going towards him. I was still walking towards him, closing the distance. And then the guy just like right there goes, and he drops it because he saw it. So it was alien versus caveman. And I'm sitting there for about whatever seconds it took me walking towards this caveman as an alien. Different language, different religion, different culture, different everything. Super high tech and this guy with dirt. Why was I doing that? For seconds, I was walking towards this guy. Didn't shoot. I could have. I was allowed to. Should have. I actually got in trouble because there was guys on other rooftops and there was other stuff going on in the compound. And one guy, and I can't remember who it was. I could if I really thought about it. But he saw what was going on my rooftop. He saw across because it was only maybe as wide as this room. It's not huge distances. So he saw what was going on over there. He saw it. And when we got done with the whole thing and the guy was cuffed, because basically he dropped the gun and I kicked it away and I cuffed him up against the wall. And because I did all the interrogations. So because I was ASOT type guy and I did all that stuff. So I was also the interrogator. So I'm talking to this guy through my terp. And because I was like that agency ASOT guy, I always had a terp because I was always doing this stuff. So he's my terp. And so interpreter. So he was the guy that did all the local Pashto. And I spoke some of it, but not all of it. He, I don't even speak very much at all. So team guy, hands up and where's the bomb and this stupid stuff. But I was talking to him and he just seemed like a pretty good dude. This is after all the action, after everything was done and everything's. So I'm just talking to him and I'm getting intel and I'm trying to work with him. And he didn't know anything. And the guy was like, he was not anybody we'd ever want. And I was like, just leave this guy. And then one of the other guys was like, no, we should take him, and get one. You got a guy and he had a gun, he was security. I was like, no, man, I was gonna leave this dude. And so because I had enough voice over it, because I was the interrogator, I was the guy doing all this stuff, but I was also the guy that ran source operations. So I was the field officer, I was a recruiter, and so I told them we need to leave this guy, and they did. And so we took off, and I, it was good, done.
You spared his life.
Spared his life. But it was seconds of me walking up on him. 2 weeks later, I'm walking through a bazaar. And if you've ever seen pictures of me, I have this big, bright red beard, unless I dye it. And over there, I dyed it a lot because I had to get it darker. But if you see me, I had a really red beard. And they used to call me Red Beard or Caveman. So it was always something about that. So 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, it was a little while later, I'm walking through a bazaar. And I got this guy running towards me and he's saying something in Pashto. And so I start drawing my pistol because I had my long gun in the truck. And so I start drawing my pistol out. because we're in a bazaar where it's like, it's not a big deal. So, and it was right there on the base. It was one of the bazaars kind of attached to the base. You know what I mean? So it was protected, and there was guys all over, and we had security towers like right there. So we just brought pistols in there. We just wanted to be, you know. And so I start reaching in and getting my pistol out, and Turf puts my hand down and says, no, he's saying thank you. It's like, and I was like, and me and him have been working for a long time and had super trust. And it's the dude, it's the guy. And he sees me and he's saying thank you, and he hugs me. He said, come back to my shop. And so I go back to his shop, start talking to him, and we become friends, you know, and I get a really great discount on a rug, you know, because he had his really cool shop. So it's a good story, huh?
Damn.
That's not the whole story.
It was the guy?
It was the guy. And so, what do you think?
Number 3. John McPhee enters Tora Bora.
Like, what was the
Bin Laden's there. Go get him and kill him. End of discussion. Wanted dead or alive. That's it.
How'd you insert?
Fucking Toyota trucks, man. We drove up, drop a daisy cutter. Man, I had old fucking trusty Rusty. I had this red fucking Toyota truck. Like, I would attract mortar fire like you read about, man. It's fucking awesome. And we just drive right up in that bitch, right into the fucking middle. We get out of the truck on my first day. I'm with this other guy. He was like a Panama guy. He was the guy that in Panama, he shot the machine gun in the barracks and killed all the guys before they got out of bed. So like he had been to combat before. I drive my truck to the top of the mountain, past the tanks. There's fucking savages, the tanks shooting, like total fucking chaos, right? There's press. We had to fight our way through the press. We had a guy almost shoot the press. It was great. Like, this is the best thing ever, right? I'm thinking. So we get to the top of the mountain and like, we're just getting mortared like you fucking read about. And I was like, I asked that guy, I was like, is this incoming or outgoing? Like, what's going on here, right? Like, he's like, why? I'm like, this is fucking great. Right? And I was just standing there, right? So he kind of like walked back by the truck and just left me there, right? And then like, I don't know, 10 years later, he was like, hey, remember that day on the top of the mountain? I was like, yeah. He was like, yo, those were incoming, but you had such a fucking smile on your face. I didn't want to ruin it for you. I was like, I asked you incoming or out. If you said they were, I thought it was like the tank fire and kicking up. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So like, and at the same time, like in the book Kill Bin Laden, like the fucking savage commander guy, I don't even remember his fucking name, but he's just like, yes, those are your men. And like, you know, Dalton Fury's like, yes, those are my men, you know what I mean? And he's thinking, what the fuck are they doing? You know what I mean? And I'm just over there like, this is fucking great. And like the savage commander, like, your men are very brave. Like, your men are brave. Like, they fucking love me, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of what it was like. Total chaos. No idea what was going on all the time. Let's just make the best thing happen right now we can.
So was that your first kinetic deployment?
Yeah.
As an operator?
Yeah.
Through Ranger, through SF?
Yeah.
In sounds like several years over a Delta as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did that feel?
Fucking amazing, man. Amazing. And then like typical team shit. I got two guys arguing who's going to be in fucking charge. One's senior by time. One's actually in charge, but he's junior by time to the senior guy. So these guys are arguing. And I just leave them argue. It'd be like, yo, you know, call for a fire mission, linear sheath, fan them out. You know what I mean? Half air, half ground. I'm just fucking working it. And then it'd be like, be like, hey, they ask if we're danger close. Say, hey, stop arguing for a minute. Hey, how far are we from the bad guys? 400 yards. They said 600. Yeah, send it. Get behind a rock. You know what I mean? And like, I fucking drop it. You know what I mean? And then, so these guys argued, and I just took the time to just focus and kill as many human beings as I could. They'd fucking shoot at us. We'd fucking level it. We'd move up. They'd shoot at us. We'd level it. We'd move up. Like, pretty simple.
Was that affecting you?
Number 2. DJ Shipley's near impossible mission.
We had a dude that did the Kenya Mall attack. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So it's that dude. So it's around the Horn of Africa, and we are going to go get this dude. It's a president-directed mission. So it's a big one, the biggest one that I've ever done for sure. Intel's painting a picture that's maybe not accurate. Beachside bungalow, like he goes there to watch TV, hang out, be super benign, in and out, cool. Not the fucking case. We get there, we've planned, we've rehearsed, and we've done all our shit. And I'm running the primary breach on the first floor. I go up and over the gate. I should probably start off with, we swam in. So that's a whole different set of problems. We swam in a slaughterhouse offshoot. So you can imagine all the great white sharks. It's a real fucking thing. That's the fastest I ever swam in my life. So we swam in, we do our whole thing. I go up and over, and I'm messing around with the locking mechanism on the gate to try to get it open. And there's a string going from the gate. It looks like it's going inside. And now I think that was an early warning device. I think it was hooked to a bell, it was hooked to something. We get the gate open, we bring everybody in, and as we are rolling up to the front door, they start getting contact on the roof. Guy comes out, shoots, skips off one of the guy's helmet, now the firefight ensues. And it's 3 stories, and it's getting fucking chaotic, dude. Like, they have been prepping for this for a long fucking time, and this is not a beachside bungalow. There's no doors. They're all walled up from the inside. There's nothing to attack, you can't see anything. It's like I'm trying to get the door open, but you don't know where the hinges are. You don't know what it is. It's this huge, super thick door. Fuck, man, it probably must have been 6 inches thick.
So it's a fucking fortress.
It's a fucking fortress, dude. It's a literal fortress. They start getting contact on the roof, and we sprint up the front door. And as we go to divide, this dude opens up on the front door and lets it go. And you just see splinters of wood, and it just fucking traces us and doesn't hit anybody. We roll to either side, and now we're trying to deal with this problem. The hate coming out of that front door was nothing like I've ever seen. It just continuous, ascending it. And the way it ended up being was a long wall, the door in the center. I'm on one side, and I've got my shooting buddy on the other side, and I've got my team leader behind me. And we're trying to figure this out. Like, we have to get inside, but we're not supposed to kill this dude. That was the whole thing, is for whatever reason, the powers to be really wanted this dude alive, and the last thing they told us before we went, I would rather you shoot him 100 times and he lives than shoot him 1 time and he dies. Bring him back alive. Well, I'm fucking committed. We all are. We're gonna bring that dude back alive. We came up with every plan we could have. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to be captured, you're not capturing the dude. You're just not. Especially in that part of the world, with just how violent they are. I mean, you've seen Black Hawk Down. That's the most realistic war movie I've ever fucking watched. That's exactly how it is. They are fucking, and they come on quick. So we're in this shit storm in the middle of the door. And I'm trying to decide how I'm gonna blow this thing. I've got my charge in my hand, it's already capped in. I've got my hydrogel peeled, I'm ready to stick this thing, and I'm timing between his bursts coming through the door. So you see it all chew up. Like 3, 2, wham, it goes live again. You're like, motherfucker, man. You're just timing it. He finally goes, and I slap this thing. And there's nowhere to roll. There's just nothing to do. You got to eat it. It's like, luckily for me, the guy behind me is super experienced. I mean, we all are very experienced breachers, and we knew we could take it. We'd been there before. Just unfortunate. Turn your head and exhale and send it. And that concussion blew out everybody's ears. We were all done. And when it blew, I could see the locking mechanism behind it. It looked like a fucking railroad tie was stuck down. So big New York lock, and we weren't getting through it. But it blew out a slat about waist high down, about this wide. And grenades started coming out of it. Accurate. So the way it was, it's the front door, and there's a long ass hallway going down. And there's a dude who's in a sandbag position with a belt fed at the end of the hallway. And it's just chewing down the hallway. There's a dude in the first room off to the right who's shooting at us through the window. So I've got my shooting buddy pinned. He's taking fire over this shoulder, and he's taking fire down the hallway, and he can't move. He can't do anything. There's like a big railing. We've got all the rest of the guys on, so we're the only 3 that are stuck on there. We're trying to get this door open. Let me back up. When I placed the charge, I roll back, and I look at him, and I was like, turning steel, and I turned my head and I blew it. And when I looked back up, he was gone. And I looked down and I saw the hole, and I thought he went. And I drop to my knees and I start going for the door, and my team leader's pulling me back. I guess he had jumped over the wall. I thought he went. And I was not gonna let that fucking dude go alone. I'm on my hands and knees trying to crawl through this fucking hole, and he's pulling me back, like, we're good, we're good. Well, now we can't get out. This thing's been going on for a couple minutes. The guys on the second deck are in the same shitstorm. The guys on the roof are in the exact same thing. Now there's people that are surrounding us we're taking fire from. The whole thing's getting dicey. And we've got to fucking leave. Like, we can't sit here and do this for another 10 more minutes. Like, you're not going to let us kill this guy. We can. We've got to get out. Unfortunately for us, the only egress route was directly behind us, which is directly in line with that dude's PK. So the only way out is to run straight through his alley. Can't go up and over the walls. There's not enough time. We don't have enough ladders, and there's quite a few guys inside the courtyard. We're trading grenades back and forth with this dude, and it finally comes time. The enemy QRF is upon us, and they're in technicals heading our way. And we gotta fucking go. So, look at the TL. I'm like, what do you want, man? And he's like, get ready for an RPG. I'm like, oh, fuck. I mean, like, bells already rang. Like, we've got shit coming out of our nose. Like, we're super concussed. And we ate for the guys that know, I mean, we ate a 1,200 grain ECT from arm's length away.
Jesus.
No ear probe, and we just sent it. I mean, I know what that charge is going to do. The overpressure is going to fuck me up, but it's not going to blow me up. I know what that charge will do and what it won't, and I was confident in it. And we had to send it. There was no other way. I wasn't going to turn around and leave without giving it every bit of effort I could. And I looked back at him, and I don't know how the fuck we're going to get out of here. It's like,
Number 1, Cody Alford being shot in the head.
I see these guys run across, armed dudes, and I get the heads up to my crew. Next thing you know, I find myself in a gunfight. And I'm on the left side of this window, and I'm engaging these two dudes with guns. They're shooting at us. And then we're just getting fucked up with machine gun fire. Like, it's just spraying down, like, to the point where, like, we're not even engaging the window anymore. We're just gonna eat it. So we're backed off in the window, waiting to hear gaps and lulls in the fire so we can pop back out and engage. And how we started doing it was the Raider operator, he would go shoot, and when he would go dry, that's when I would come in. We were playing that whole tag you're it game. Meanwhile, the two snipers in my team, they're in the prone position on the ground, because when we're not actively engaging, very accurate sporadic fire is coming through our window. And it's like literally just like mowing on top of us. So if you stick your head up, you're done. And these guys are just like, oh shit, did you guys get them? Like they're kind of like laughing. They're like, fuck, they've been here, done that. They've been to the invasion of Iraq. They were in one of them was in Somalia, but it was real. It was a real deal. It was really happening. And we were not participating. We were it. And I remember going back behind the window. I reload another magazine. And as soon as I pop out to shoot, it all goes black. And I remember this, this like profound exhale that came out of me. And I ended up on the ground. And that's when I had this out of body experience. At the time, I had no idea what happened. I thought I was dead. I could see, if you ever play a game or if you ever seen a game where there's like a glitch where you can kind of see like a top-down view. I saw this top-down view of what was going on. I could see the fighters across the street. I could see my body. I could see my point man still shooting. I could see my other teammates on the ground. Like, what the fuck's going on? I just saw
You had a fucking out-of-body experience in the middle of combat?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And what happened was I see this fucking light. I see all these things going on. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking dead. And I just get sucked back into this life. And then I snap and I'm in this fetal position. My body went to this fetal position. And I start to move. And I didn't know if I was convulsing or if it was from my friend kicking me. He's kicking me with his foot. He's in the prone position. Just, hey, wake up. They're like, dude, we thought you were dead. We didn't see any blood. I'm like, what happened? I'm like crying and laughing at the same time. I have no idea what's going on. I got shot right in the helmet. And I didn't know this. And I'm completely out of it. Well, my body was down, fell at the radio, near the radio. They're like, get on the radio and call in support. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out where I'm at. And they're like, get on the fucking radio and call for support. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I pick up this fucking handset. And I give like the worst radio transmissions ever. Every other word was break. Warhammer break. This is break. Grim Reaper break. We need break. I'm fucking out of it. And I get it out. I muster it out. I would call him like, hey, here's our fucking location. This is what's going on. And I'm getting broken comm. And we're still under fucking fire, under attack. And so my team was like, we got to get out of here. So we pack up the radio and we work our way downstairs. And I find myself with the radio operator holding, basically being a shield for him so he can set up the antenna, get communication, and we can get fucking contact. Because we're like, dude, shit's about to get real. And my team leader and my assistant team leader, they're cradling their sniper rifle and they got their pistol out. And I can see kind of the doorway of the building we're in, and then I see this window right in front of me as I'm like peeking out of this bathroom. And it's a very tall window, and I see this head, the top of this head, walk by. I see this turban and everything walk by. I'm like, fuck. Because this is the real fucking thing. So I'm like, fucking tell everyone, shut the fuck up. There's people coming. So my guy stops on the radio communication because it's loud as fuck. We didn't have the best radios and antennas back there, and we're in a concrete building. We're not in a favorable position to achieve communication superiority. And we're somewhat locked down, so we're not even in a true defensive posture. We're almost just waiting for it. And I see this shadow get bigger and bigger into this room. I couldn't see anymore because I wasn't peeking out anymore, but I just saw the shadow figure get bigger and bigger and bigger until this fucking man's face, this adult face, crests the corner, and I just jam my fucking gun into his face. He's got no weapon. I fucking hit him. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, what the fuck do we do? And they're like, oh, he's trying to come in and fucking look at body counts. He's a fucking spy. He's on the lookout. And I'm like, I'm still like semi-throwing up. I'm dizzy. I don't know what the fuck's going on still. I'm semi-conscious to this, but like, I'm trying to process a whole bunch of stuff. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to give that my priority than my own feelings and concerns and thoughts and emotions. One person ends up turning into 7 people. People started to come to our house. No weapons. And we did not know what to do. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking kill these people that have no guns. Like, at that point in time, I made that decision. Like, I'm not just, anyone can kill. And at a fucking young age, before I really learned what that life was about, they weren't a threat to me. And you can't just, I don't know, at the time I didn't do it. So it is what it was. But we didn't have any stuff to hog tie them. We didn't have anything to secure them. All we had was fucking our weapons drawn at them. And we're like, dude, we are so fucked. We got to get the fuck out of here. Because they make a jump on us, we're done. Yeah, we'll take care of a few. But dude, we're outnumbered. Almost 2-1 at this point. Just males. And it was so random. And instead of them walking by, I'm like ushering them in. I'm grabbing them, forcibly bringing them in. Because the last thing I wanted them to do is run away and tell people that these 4 gringos are inside this house. And they have no idea what's going on. And my team was like, dude, we gotta make a bail for it. We gotta make a run for this thing. And our only option was to hit the road, skirt the fucking town, and just run until we made contact with friendlies. Because we're still getting fucking shot at. It's not as violent now. It's sporadic at this point. But now we have these guys come in and do quality checks. And we have no idea what they are, what they're about, what they represent, who they work for. It's just a lot of weird things that are happening all at once. And so we work ourselves out of this house, and we just started to bound. And we just kept on bounding until we ran into an infantry squad. And we tell them what's going on. We're like, yo, dude, we're in this building over here. We got in contact from across the street. And they're like, oh yeah, we heard that shit, so we showed up and we just started fucking blasting both buildings. We didn't know anything. I'm like, not really putting two and two together. And I'm like, oh, y'all are blasting that fucking building too? They're like, oh yeah, we're fucking blasting that building, we're blasting that building, and this is new, you know? They didn't know shit, we didn't know shit, until we started to like piecemeal these stories together.
What did you think of these stories, and which one was your favorite? Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out the full Shawn Ryan interviews, linked in the description.